Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to Prod.cast. My name is Basil.
I'm Andric.
And I'm SK.
And we are here today doing another one of these podcasts, and I think this is my first time opening it, right?
I think so. Actually, no lah. You've had a previous episode where you opened, no? Or did I open all of it so far?
I have no idea.
I can't remember.
We have to check.
We've only done 10 episodes, but it feels like a lifetime really.
Yeah, it feels like it's been a while because we've also done video reactions, and we've swapped around the introductions and the hosting quite a fair bit. So So well, it's been fun. A bit of a light topic here today. I don't know if it's gonna be like light, but I think it's gonna be light.
We'll do our best to keep it light because
Yeah.
this topic doesn't really require a lot of weight.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bit, I would say, old. Yeah, it's a couple
of
2 to 3 weeks old.
At the day of recording, yes.
Yeah. It's about Our Girls Go Army, the new upcoming sequel to. I wouldn't say sequel.
It's a reboot, right?
It
kind of feels like a reboot or an alternate
remake,
story.
regendered version of Our Boys to Men.
Sure.
Yeah.
The I hate to say this, extremely popular with a certain demographic movie series about national service that's produced by one of the most profitable directors in Singapore, who is Jack Neo. Yeah, so before we go into the podcast proper, I just want to outline the scope of the discussion. We're not going to cover our personal thoughts on whether women should serve NS or not, because I think that's irrelevant to the discussion.
Right.
And I think that's a really pointed discussion that I don't think we are in a place to say whether women should serve NS or not.
Right.
Yeah, because first of all, we are not women.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and we don't have a lady with us to share her view. So, that's not what we want to discuss here. And another thing that we're not going to discuss is, of course, Jack Neo's personal life and what he does in his own personal time. Congratulations to him. He just became a father-in-law. So, okay, that's
congrats.
it.
I didn't know about that. Nice.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that too.
Nice.
Yeah. So let's move on from that. Let's move on to the first topic that we want to talk about. So, Our Girls Go Army was announced, I think, about 3 weeks ago.
Right.
If I recall correctly.
Right.
And at the same time, they also announced that they were going to be doing an open call for casting.
Right.
For certain, like a whole list of characters, and they said that the movie was going to be launched on Chinese New Year 2021. Chinese New Year 2022. So, which is it's a relatively short time frame. But before we go into that, maybe just a little background about Jack Neo's movies and the Our Boys to Men movie series, and the resulting effect that it had on, well, the subject matter, which is national service. What do you guys generally think of Jack Neo's movies?
I grew up with Jack Neo's movies. I don't know what the popular belief is, but as a kid growing up with his movies like I'm Not Stupid, I'm Not Stupid 2. What's the English name for 好吧孩子, that running show?
Home Run.
Home Run, right. And some other family films that he has released over the years. And then when I grew a bit older, it was more to all the gambling stuff, like The Best Bet or Money No Enough.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, Money No Enough came out very early, but I wasn't of the appropriate age to watch it yet. Right, so I can say I grew up with his shows, and as a kid, there is a sense of nostalgia to it. But as an adult, especially stepping into the media industry myself, even though I'm not exactly doing films yet, I feel that a lot of his shows don't hold up. Right? That is just my opinion from, I wouldn't call myself a filmmaker, but from someone in the media industry standpoint. Right? His film it doesn't age well. Right? But there is still that sense of nostalgia when I watch it again, because it I think a year ago, since last year's Circuit Breaker, it got released on Singapore's Netflix. As part of a marketing effort to encourage Singaporeans to support local content via Netflix. Since during that time, they've studied the statistics, and more and more people are really not watching Channel 5, Channel 8 already, because we are all jumping into subscription services like Netflix, HBO, and Netflix apparently is the most popular among Singaporeans. I had a chance to watch most of his stuff again, including Home Run, and I would say I think, while knowing that Home Run is allegedly, I don't get into a lawsuit here, a plagiarized film from you said an Indian movie or
Children of Heaven.
Iranian
movie?
Well, it's not I wouldn't say it's plagiarized. There must be
Recycled.
No, he must have bought the story from them and decided to do a remake. Would you call The Departed a plagiarism of Infernal Affairs?
No.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then my bad.
Yeah.
Let me.
Because while the general public might think, oh, he copied that, he copied this, he copied that film that was made, blah blah blah. But being in the media industry myself, having been to film markets and TV markets where concepts and shows are sold before, during, and even after they are made, I know that adaptations are a big thing. They are a big market. There's also been shows that have been made by Singapore and Malaysia that have been adapted from a foreign show. For example, there is this. Remember, there was this police drama from View called The Bridge.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah. Okay. So it's basically the premise is about the Singapore and the Malaysian police departments, right? The police forces of both countries figuring out how to deal with the case when a dead body is found on the dividing line at the causeway, at the second link. So if the body crosses both Singapore and Malaysia border equally, whose jurisdiction is it? So I found out later on that this was actually an adaptation of a Danish show called The Bridge.
I
So
see.
they bought the concept from Denmark, and they adapted it into the the regional context. So I think a bit not wise to call it a plagiarism.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just an adaptation.
Then I'll rescind my words. Okay, so let's just call it an adaptation or a homage even.
Or remake,
Or a remake, sure.
Yeah.
Just Jack New's version of it. Okay.
Yeah.
Not considering the fact that it was inspired by another film released earlier. That film I feel aged the best without the feeling of nostalgia. So that's just generally how I feel about Jack Neo films. Of course, the older I grow and I get in touch, not say get in touch, I have access to other local films made by other local directors like Royston Tan, Kelvin Tong, and other directors' names which their names escape my memory now. I would say his content is really more suited for the general public with families in Singapore and the Singapore government. Singapore government would definitely love to eat up the type of content that he puts out.
Well, I think, to be frank, I think his content only suits a certain demographic, which is the Hokkien-speaking Chinese.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really appeal to the other racial groups at all.
Sure.
Yeah. Because it's framed in such a way that the only characters that appear in the show that are of any importance are from a specific racial and dialect group. Yeah.
His is more lighthearted because I can also easily say that, for example, Singapore's local director Royston Tan, his films are also aimed towards Hokkien-speaking Chinese. Look at 881, look at 12 Lotus, look at, is it 16 or 18? I can't remember.
You really like to use numbers, or?
Yeah, that's
was
his thing
15
really.
also.
Yeah.
15, right? 15,
Yeah.
the gang film.
Yeah.
No, but I think 15 was fine because that he was really zoning in on that specific demographic, which is like the classic 90s Abeng. Yeah, but when you talk about a film like a film like Our Boys to Men, right? It's national service.
Yeah.
It's something that's supposed to affect all of us equally.
Yeah.
Having too much of a focus on just a certain demographic kind of loses the one of the key motivators for having national service in the first place, which is for Singaporeans of all walks of life to integrate.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's my background with Jack movies lah.
Right.
SK, you want to share yours?
Okay, to be honest, when I was exposed to Jack New's movie, technically speaking, I was already quite grown. I was in my early teens period, or even after mid-childhood, where I have a little bit of inkling on what exactly, about what is happening outside the society. One of the reasons is because I used to be a huge fan of Comedy Night.
As in 搞笑行动.
Yeah.
I see.
So, of course, the first thing is...
That's definitely a classic.
Yeah, but I don't know why I have never find his show funny.
If anything, I have more respect for them when they did 搞笑行动 because it was a live audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when I realized that when he started venturing into movies, I don't really find any of his materials funny. I know why. I know what was the context of it, but I don't really know. Like I don't really find like, why is that so funny about it? Like an example of one scene in Home Run, since we're talking about it. He actually satirized one of the Malaysia and Singapore tension with this particular boy who constantly say 我哪里讲打架 when when Malaysia was constantly taunting Singapore, and he used this to satirize using this phrase. And knowing that is one thing, but when I sit down, I go, why is that so funny about it? So to me, I was never there to appreciate his joke, his things, or even sometimes some of the ideas that he worked with. But I do know that there were people who like his show.
There are a lot of people who do.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who do, which
Yeah.
is when I sat down, like for example, when I'm Not Stupid happened, I was, I think, in my teens. I knew a few of my friends who were really like huge fan of the show, and they were constantly talking about like laughing over some of the jokes that they are having. But I sit down there and go, okay.
I mean, to be fair, when I'm Not Stupid was released, a lot of the media shown in Singapore, available to Singaporeans, is just local content.
Yeah.
So away from the Channel 5, Channel 8, Channel U type of family dramas, his is the next best thing. It's not like at that point in time we had access to Netflix or HBO or anything like that.
Yeah.
No, and also I think in comparison with the local TV shows of that time, I think movies like 钱不够用 and all that, right? Because they were shot on film, they had higher production values than TV shows of the time. But now TV has caught up, and I think TV has exceeded it somewhat, even Singapore TV. So that's why some of the Jack Neo movies now do feel a bit old and dated, even the new ones. Yeah.
Like, are you guys even aware that he has a couple of new movies, 3 in fact, called the Tiam Tiam era?
Yeah.
But it's so low key that I'm confident that half the people don't know about it.
Yeah, but if you follow his stuff, you would know lah.
Of course,
sure.
Yeah.
Or if you're very deep in the music industry, you would know for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying
But
that
aren't they on Netflix?
they are on Netflix.
Yeah,
That-
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
but that's why, because even though it's on Netflix, the algorithm wouldn't show up unless you are consistently watching local films.
Right.
In fact, our Boys to Men, was it 3 or 4 that he did just recently?
4.
4, right?
Wait, the movie got a 4th one?
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
one with the
Oh,
armor
jeez.
unit.
Yeah, Armor Unit. And the reason why I happened to know about it was because for some reason one of this coffee shop, nowadays they have this advertisement they're constantly showing. There was a long period of time, every single time when I go to a certain place, I can see it.
Right.
So that's the reason why I know that. But even and in fact, the advertisement was even running even after the movie has already been taken down.
Right.
Yeah, it's already So
Right.
to me, it's like that's the only reason why I knew about that show. If
Right.
it wasn't because like I wouldn't know about there was a 4th one. It wasn't because of that advertisement.
right.
So that was how I feel about his marketing as of late. Also.
I knew about A Boys to Men 4 when I was in Hong Kong actually. I saw it on a poster at Film Art, so they were trying to sell the movie there,
Oh.
and that's how I knew about it.
Wait, isn't Our Boys to Men 4 the one with the naval diving thing?
That's 3.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Means I didn't watch 4.
Yeah. I didn't watch 3 and 4. I watched the first 2.
I
During
watched
reservist.
halfway of 3, but that's because I was forced to watch it because I was at reservist. So one of the days we didn't have anything, so they just put on a movie for us, and the only acceptable one, I guess, with the officers was Our Boys to Men. Then
Yeah, that kind of happened with me as well.
Then I recalled watching halfway, and I think I fell asleep or something.
Yeah.
I think they should have just showcased 4 because 4 is focusing apparently
Well, maybe
focusing
not
on
maybe not that time yet.
I recall when I first watched 3, I don't think 4 was out.
4 came
Oh,
out
4.
in 18, I think.
Dude, I
Oh.
didn't even know
Yeah.
that got a 4th
4
movie.
came out in 18 or 19. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
pretty recent lah.
Yeah. I guess it's funny that you should mention 搞笑行动 because and then relate it to how you find the movies not funny. And I if I were to take a wild guess, right, I would say it's because some of the movies, right, the way they play out some of his movies, the way they play out the humor is very similar to the way they did it on stage in 搞笑行动. And maybe it doesn't translate for screen. Because sometimes you know how it's a very Singapore movie thing where a character goes into like his own head mind space, and then suddenly everything becomes very colourful and and fantastic
Yeah.
and very unrealistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a very Singapore movie thing. Yeah, it's very, how to say,
It's sometimes a very toku
it's
thing
a
as well
trope.
lah.
It's a
It's a
trope.
trope.
It's a trope.
I see.
It's a trope that they use. Coming back to Jack Neo stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay, do you guys think that the product placements are a bit too much? Like
Like the sponsor stuff.
sponsors and stuff.
Um,
Do you think they're
Yeah,
in
it's
your
too
face?
much.
Yeah, it's
It was
really in
really
your face,
insane.
right?
short answer is too much.
Yeah.
It has been in our face all the time.
I always believe that there is a better way to do it.
I remember vaguely someone was in some news outlet interviewed Jack Neo about the product placements in his film, and he used the example of Omega sponsoring James Bond, which is like, but they use it in a way that is not really in your face, you know? Yeah, but
There wasn't a single shot in the James Bond movie where they close up to his watch.
they do, but they don't say, they don't. When Q hands James Bond the watch or a car, right, the new car, he doesn't say, "Look, Mr. Bond, look, Bond 007, this is your new Aston Martin DB5 with blah 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 cylinders, blah 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 blah."
We even spoke about this during the Shang-Chi podcast where the scene where they were driving the BMW car through the forest, it was basically a 4-minute BMW ad.
Yeah, but they didn't say that. Oh, they didn't have the characters read out the specs
I
Yeah.
see.
of the BMW.
But Jack Neo's movie though.
Yeah, but Jack Neo's movies do.
Give me an example.
Okay, for example, this is off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I remember the scene in the first I Was to Men
Uh-huh.
where, if I'm not wrong, it was one of the characters played by played by Maxi.
Okay.
Yeah, my good friend Maxi.
Is he a good friend?
Well, we used to teach together, so
Interesting.
yeah, that was a long time ago. But
Interesting. I didn't know that.
yeah, so he was at the StarHub shop with his mother.
Ah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Ah, that
And
whole
then-
plan thing, right?
Yeah, and then there were two StarHub sales guys. One played by a friend of mine, Paul. Yeah, who were like trying to sell him onto the plan for NS boys, and then they were like reading out the plan, everything,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
after that it was like, oh, then they found out that the two guys went to OCS, and then they started talking about OCS again. So it's very like,
Right in your face, lah.
it's in your face lah. And there was another scene also in the same movie where I think it was Joshua, right? Is it
Sure.
is his name
Like
Joshua?
the main lead, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Joshua.
Joshua, right? He came home, booked out for the first time, if I'm not wrong. Then Irene Ang's character opened the cupboard in the kitchen, and inside the cupboard was like completely stocked with New Moon Abalone.
Oh, is it?
All
yeah,
the
yeah.
logos facing outwards.
Yeah.
It's like filled to the brim, you know.
Maybe the helper OCD.
No, but to fill it to the brim, it's like, oh, how
Yeah
much
lah,
abalone
yeah lah.
can you eat?
Yeah
right?
lah.
Yeah.
Yeah lah. I mean, to be fair, the night that he came back, they're having party.
Yeah, but okay.
Too in your face.
No, another example I recall from the movie
Go.
is when they went into their bunks for the first time. Then the Abeng character, what's his name?
Lobang.
Lobang. Yeah. He started to distribute Bicheng Hyang.
Okay, that one okay. That one
Yeah,
funny.
but when he throw right, it land right on the bed with the logo up,
Yeah lah.
facing upwards.
Yeah lah.
Yeah.
Too in your face,
I can
lah.
give you another. Okay, the one I kind of agree with you, but I can give you another example where they also use Bicheng Hyang, but I thought it was weaved in really funny because it served the plot of the story,
Oh.
which is the I Not Stupid one, where Richard Lowe's character was selling bakwan also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not exactly
Oh, yeah,
Bicheng
I
Hyang,
think that's
but it was
fine.
sponsored.
Yeah,
I think that is fine.
Yeah, because it's
The
yeah,
aqua thing, right?
Yeah.
I think that one was fine,
Yeah.
but that's another dated
that one
joke.
funny lah.
It was funny then. Now you look at it, it's like, oh,
It's very
I will
offensive
still
now.
laugh,
dated.
but I will still laugh, but the points come because it's
Yeah.
from nostalgic.
Yeah, I'm aware of the repercussions, you know, that kind of thing. I'm aware of how dated it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like even Money Not Enough, there's also a scene whereby Jack Neo's character Darya shoot down one guy, his manager, whom he hated the most, and he really used that term also. So yeah,
Right.
he also used that term also. So it
Right.
literally like, you know, oh my god. When I watched it, there was no reaction, but now I'm like, oh, that's kind of
Yeah.
offensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, that speaks to. But do you think do you think that having not watched the latest couple of movies, right? Have you guys done so?
I tried watching it because the trailer showed me that it was something to do with Singapore politics at the very beginning in the 60s.
Right.
I cannot. The first 10 minutes, right, is so slow. And there's just something off with the color and the angles that didn't sit quite right with me. So I tuned off after a while.
Right. I saw a couple of clips. I thought the set design was pretty nice.
The trailer was very well done.
Yeah.
That was what made me click into it at the first place.
To be fair, I have no idea about this portion here because I really didn't know that they have such a movie that showed up.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Yeah. I will definitely check it out.
You can go check it out.
Yeah.
But let's come back to Our Boys to Men, okay? Having been guys who have served NS before Our Boys to Men, do you think that Our Boys to Men had positive or negative effect on the perception of national service?
For us or for the general public?
For the general public.
Yes.
Positive or negative?
Positive.
It's really positive to be fair. It showcased a different side that people, a misconception from outsiders looking in. But that's only
what do you mean? Like
for example, there was a scene where Joshua purposely chose not to drink and dehydrated himself and caused himself to be fainted. And then the number of hierarchies getting hit was legitimately one of those that go, oh yeah, that's basically what they're doing. That's basically the things that internally what they're having, as long as there's any accident that happens. That's why they're so afraid of having any of the recruits especially getting injured whatsoever. And you can see that effect also make a lot of people realize that why is it that the recruit safety was being to assure the public that the recruit safety are the utmost focus in BMTC. Because
but do you think that that's a direct cause from Our Boys to Men rather or just social media in general?
But to be fair, there was a lot of there were some cases of deaths during the time. There were some accidents that happened in not just BMTC but NS in general. And there were a lot of people was blaming oh, it's the commanders who are bullying the people whatsoever. And then I felt that was the reason why they purposely showed this scene.
I don't know, to be honest. Like moving into a bit of
okay, but too political, yeah.
Moving into alleged territory here.
Okay. But at the same time, they also showcase the kind of we always think about sergeant during the time when we're going into BMTC or all that. The sergeants are always fierce, scolding, screaming whatsoever. And then Tosh's character did not actually being that kind of a monster commander or platoon sergeant, if you notice. In a way that he wasn't. So it did reflect positively in terms of people's perception of BMTC commanders or even BMTC sergeants.
I don't know if I can ask Andric the same question because he didn't serve SAF.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you listening that don't know me personally, I was in the civil defense lah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you can compare. I mean, it's technically not comparing apples to apples, but it's still within the fruit kingdom. So
yeah.
So I guess as someone who didn't go through SAF BMT training per se, it gave me a visual insight to what BMT could be like, because as long as I mean, prior to that movie or movies, whatever information I know about BMT is stories from my friends. Yeah, so I guess that one gives me a bit I got to see how the firing range looks like. I got to see how the SOC looks like. I got to see how the bomb range looks like.
And the grenade range. Yeah.
Right, it's more or less the same, right?
It is the same.
I also got, I mean, to me, the first movie was educational, like jokes and storyline and stuff. I got to see how more or less SAF did their trainings for BMT recruits in that year. Yeah, and also funny part was I got to see how they did it in the 70s or 80s lah. The one with the segment where Justin Mission was the sergeant. So that was quite interesting and educational for me. But aside from that, I didn't take away anything else.
Right. Personally, I'm 50-50 on whether it's a positive or negative net effect lah. Because, well, the positive effect is that people like Andric or people who do not serve in the SAF can understand what SAF training looks like. But at the same time, I kind of didn't really like the fact that they overplayed all the like the funny stuff that happens inside.
Yeah, the all the army tropes that happen.
Yeah, I don't like that they didn't really like that they overplayed it so much because to me it just makes the army look weak lah. I think that's not really good for like showing up to our neighboring countries.
But to
Yeah.
be fair, it's still just a show.
Of course, it's just a show
Yeah.
lah. But you know how important media is, right?
Yeah, media perception,
because it's like in a way it's good that people get to see what it's like. But I'm also wary of the idea that just because people saw it in a movie and it happened that way in a movie, then it's not so tough in real life. Yeah, or it's not so tough in real life, or people just think every SAF soldier is out to king. Just like the characters in the movie.
Yeah.
Okay
Yeah.
lah. I mean, they do have an array of different characters in the movie. Like Maxi was the
Garang.
the Xiao On one ma.
Yeah, correct.
Right. But I do find that there is a very low diverse cast.
Right.
There was literally one Malay dude and one Indian dude, and that's it. And the rest were like 99% Chinese. I don't know if that's actually the case for SAF.
No.
No, it's
Y'all
just
can share me, because I can
no,
tell you that in SCDF, Chinese
it's
is the
opposite,
minority.
Right? Yeah, it's the opposite.
Chinese is
right?
really the minority.
Yeah. No, but it's definitely not the case lah. Yeah, it's
I
definitely
see.
not the case, especially for army and BMT.
it was
Yeah.
supposed to cater to the Chinese audiences because that's what Genuine is focusing on. So hence the reason why they have more Chinese at that point of time. And no, in terms of positivity wise that you mentioned, it's only pertaining to one. To me, when part 2 happens,
Yeah, I think part 1 was better. lah.
yeah, part 2 happened, it was like,
That's the other thing. Was it really necessary to do 2 parts? Can you tell the story of one movie?
I think
in
part
2
1
hours?
was really just to introduce a new Army Days story
yeah.
and to give people an updated insight on how BMT specifically is like. And then part 2 is just to, like, I think by the end of part 1, because it ended on a cliffhanger, it's just to satisfy people's bond and attachment with the characters really.
Oh, Jesus.
Because part 2 is really not so much about the in-camp training anymore.
Yeah, part 2 they suddenly did a time jump.
Yeah.
It's
Did
just a
time
little
skip
bit
of
only.
a few weeks.
A few weeks only, lor.
Yeah.
But part 2, I feel that in terms of what I take away, in terms of learning about how BMT works, is probably just the outfield.
Yeah.
Outfield wasn't in part 1, right?
Outfield was in part 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
part
so
two.
so outfield is one of the most common topics I hear when my friends talked about it, and I never knew how it looks like.
Right.
So thanks to that, I now know how outfield is like. I know how it's like when the sergeant tries to steal their guns or gun parts.
Oh dear, our national secrets on screen.
Yeah, I finally have a visual of what shell script is.
Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so that to me, part 2 is the only educational elements that I take away with me, lor.
Right. Right.
I kind of feel that the only reason why Our Boys to Men was successful at that time, okay, to be fair to Jack Newman, was his ability to create stars, and he happened to have quite a few very good ones at his disposal at the point of time. They are very memorable.
I mean, with
I give you that.
with the cast, he definitely struck lightning in a bottle. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it was all almost brand new people.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
He didn't use a single, not a single, but he I think used like just 5% from his original crew, like the J Team crew.
Oh yeah.
Like in terms of like Mark Lee, and
He didn't even use Mark Lee.
He didn't use.
no, in terms of the crew that he used to work with,
Right.
often like Mark Lee
Right.
and Hui Ke and whoever else,
Right.
Marcus.
Yeah.
So that was like the new Liang Jiapan. Lor.
Yeah. He did make stars out of them. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
He has the ability, to be fair. All this while, he has been like Mark Lee came from him.
Yeah, but he built that ability through the years that he's been doing movies.
No, even
he
before
is
that.
a well-known director in Singapore, 家喻户晓, right? As long as you are casted in his film, you know that your fame will go up, man, because he has already spent the decades to build who he is in the eyes of Singaporeans already.
Yep.
Actually, before that, he already did that. He has the capability of doing that. Like Mark Lee was his creation. Mark Lee, Henry Chow was his creation.
I would
Even
say that
before-
was his experimental phase.
No, yeah, I think they worked together.
Yeah.
They were more contemporaries rather than
Yeah.
him before
it
them.
always felt that they were on equal ground.
Correct. Just that he was the driving force lah. Yeah, but I never felt that they were not equal. Yeah.
But even before, yeah. But to me, that was But to me, that was something that I feel that is always what cast or crew will want to have is a director who can, when I work with this director, suddenly my profile go up, and then especially actors.
Oh yeah, that's for everybody, even crew members.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then it's
Even
like,
for crew members.
yeah.
Although not for everyone lah.
Not for everyone
I
lah.
mean, there are some people who are in it for the art.
Yeah, you
true.
have, and some people may not want to work with others because of personality clash or for whatever reason. Yeah, but then 1 and 2 aside, let's come to the sequels. Like, one thing I really did not like about the sequels, I didn't really watch them, but from the outline I know it's just a freaking reboot or remake with the same characters going through the same problems in a different setting, in a different unit. So it's
Yeah.
it's like freaking multiverse stuff right here. It's alternate universe stuff. So to me, it's like, what is the point of telling the same story over and over again?
Because it generates the same amount of income over and over again.
People just want to watch
Precisely,
an army
lor.
stuff
Yeah.
at that point of time.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, from movie 3 onwards, I dare say is just for the money already.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then that brings us to Our Girls Go Army. That is really just for the money. Yeah, it's like people have been asking him, oh, do it again, but this time just with police. Do it again, but this time just with civil defense. Do it
Yeah.
again, but this time just with Air Force.
I find it intriguing that you brought it up because when I first watched the Our Boys to Men first 2-parter movies, I did think that how nice it would be to have a civil defense. So I can personally relate to it.
Yeah.
I think from movie 3 onwards, where they went to the naval diving unit, it lost a lot of people because not
everybody has been to the NDU.
right.
Yeah.
It's a bit more out of reach already. It's more niche.
Because NDU is too elite.
Yeah.
Yep, which is what I find funny, because for elite force like the NDU, I think putting too much comedy there is weird. Because they're supposed to be
A bit more serious.
they're of a certain level. Yeah, you have to view them seriously.
It's
lah.
like
It's like
it's like if you make Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but they're all SWAT team, kind of.
yeah.
It's a bit weird, you know.
Yeah.
There's a weird like vibe there. It's like, well, can you really trust these guys to do their
Yeah.
job properly?
Or
You know,
even
that kind of thing.
or even commandos. You don't see this commando
That's
making
really
this kind of goofing around.
more of the image of the NDU, really lah.
Yeah.
And not just NDU, but of all the more special elite forces within
Yeah.
within any military.
Yeah. That's right. I mean, I'm sure they are like that, like maybe 30% of the time lah. But for the rest of the time when they're doing their stuff, it's should be all serious stuff lah.
True.
Yeah. So honestly, I hope for the day that we actually see a serious military movie from Singapore. Yeah. No wait, coming to Our Girls Go Army, right?
Yeah.
Since we've spoken about like Jack Neo just taking the body and changing the skin
Yeah.
for the shows.
Yeah.
Now he's taking the skin and changing the body. He's changing from
Right.
male to female, and
Right.
and he's doing so from the synopsis, that the brief synopsis that was released, it's supposedly takes place in a future where women have to be conscripted.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't read the synopsis.
Yeah,
Okay, interesting.
So women to be conscripted, and then it's probably going to be the same few caricatures again,
Yeah.
going through the same problems. So a lot of people have joked online that he only needed 20 minutes to write the script because just need to change the names.
I see.
Yeah. So a movie like that, right? Do you guys really think it's necessary?
I don't know. I guess there's some part in me that hopes that this movie would be different.
How different? Like, besides changing the gender of the main cast.
I think in terms of what they go through during BMT would likely be the same, maybe except if they do push up for the ladies, it's just the knees on the floor lor. I mean, that sounds very ignorant coming from me, but I really don't know. I don't know what is it like for ladies who go through BMT or BRT.
Right.
I guess that would be what I will be looking to learn from lah.
They
Yeah.
mostly go through the same stuff, actually.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then-
They have to. We're not as in like physical fitness, IPPT standards aside, right? Everything else is the same. Yeah.
I guess let me answer your question in a different way. I feel that it's not a movie that people asked for.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody asked for it.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I feel like it's a ticking time bomb lah, because you don't know what's gonna go into it based on his track record.
But
you don't know what kind of jokes he's gonna lean into.
True.
Yeah.
But I also guess it's an easy cash grab. Okay, that's just my opinion. I'm not saying that that's actually what he's doing, because I would say 80% of the cast will be female, good-looking females. So it's easy to bring in an audience.
To be fair, MediaCorp has already done one. It's not considered full female army drama.
Well, no, that one is more of like regular, right?
Yeah, regular.
Yeah.
But in a way, I don't know. This might be the reason. Probably, I don't know. Just speculation is like, if they are doing this, and I don't know if how well received it is, but it can be an inspiration for him to do something like that. But okay, but at the same time, that's speculation. But to me, one of the biggest question that I was in my mind whenever I look at this is, who are the target audience? Who are the target
The
audience?
question I'm asking is,
Yeah.
what is he trying to say?
Yeah. No, who is he trying to sell
But
to?
I guess you will know until you watch the movie, because we don't even know the script yet.
I know the premise lah. The premise is a not so distant future where women are conscripted.
Okay. What do you think? What do you guys think could go wrong within the film? Not considering the production timeline, within the film. My biggest fear is the jokes that they come up with are too sexist
Oh yeah, I was about to say
and
that.
too
Yeah.
stereotypical.
Yeah, I
Like,
suspect. Yeah.
like, oh, I'm a girl in the army, then I got boyfriend problem. I kind of don't want to see that
No,
again.
I think you can't have a movie about girls going to national service without addressing that they are objectified as a group, which is problematic, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, is it going to be a proper female empowerment film? Or is it just there to, bio zabo?
Yeah.
Not just for the male cast or male characters in the show, but for the audience as well.
Yeah.
That's what I'm most afraid
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
We have to see if it does we have to see if when it comes out. It's just that right now,
No, I think the problematic thing for me with regards to the sexist jokes, right? It's like, is the subject matter that is going to be handled properly? Like, is it going to be done in a way that critiques the fact that these things are happening? Or is it going to be just done for laughs?
I think that depends on the writing team.
yeah.
That really depends on the
What
writing
writing team?
I mean, jokes aside, I don't know, but I would feel that if they have more females on the writing team this time, and they actually consult actual female officers within the SAF, I think it could have a slightly better quality. But as you said, yeah, I'm quite afraid that the jokes are played out just for laughs without a deeper meaning.
Yeah. Because his movies tend to do that.
Of course,
Yeah.
it's easy. It's cheap humor.
Yeah. Correct. So to me personally, I don't think a movie like that is really necessary. Like I think if you want to make a movie about women in the army, right, do a proper one, not a comedy where things can be taken out of context so easily.
Now, to be honest, that aside, how many women would legitimately sit down and watch and go, "Oh, I'm very excited to see a show about army, about the girls going to army"? I genuinely don't know. And not to mention, this is supposed to be a show that's supposed to be premiere in Chinese New Year period.
Well,
Family's law.
Yeah.
Family's law. But do you think there might be an underlying movement where he might encourage more women or more ladies, okay, I don't say ladies, more women to join national service voluntarily?
There's no such thing as volunteering for national service.
Women leh.
You are conscripted, or you are either conscripted or you're not, or you sign on as a regular.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the thing. I don't think this will really encourage women to sign on, because it's already set in a distant future where women are conscripted. You see the difference there? Yeah. So it's probably not gonna be so much of a recruitment exercise for female regulars, but just putting forth the idea of what if, women are conscripted, which is already a touchy subject to begin with.
But no matter what, we know that the movie is going to end positively one lah.
Oh yeah lah. It's gonna end on some like, oh yeah, everybody's great,
I mean, small note aside, I hope that this movie is a one-parter. It's not a two-parter.
Yeah.
Let's hope that will hear.
Two-parter will be really milking the cow dry.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've already talked about whether we think the movie is necessary and
Yeah.
what we think might happen in it, our fears and stuff. So let's come to the production, the short time frame that between the announcement and doing the casting and
Break it down for us.
launching the movie. So he announced the movie a couple of weeks ago, right?
That's in early October?
Early October or late September, either
Sure.
one, right? They are doing like the online casting now for a certain number of characters
For half a month.
for half a month. They apparently go into production sometime in November.
Mm-hmm.
Based on the average time it takes to shoot a full movie, it's 30-40 days.
Mm-hmm.
They will be done shooting in mid-December. And then you have 1.5 months for post before Chinese New Year, which is on 1st February 2022.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Interesting.
If I remember correctly, which I'm going to check right now.
While Basil is checking, I do really have to say the timeline scares me quite a bit.
It's
Yes,
a very tight
it's on
one.
1.5
February
months for post
2022.
is very, very scary.
Yeah,
For a proper movie to be showcased in the cinemas
during a pandemic.
Yeah.
during a pandemic, right?
Yeah. So given all these factors in play, right? We do we think it's reasonable for a feature film, and does this contribute to a culture of overwork in the creative industry?
It's not reasonable, and yes, it does. Because I mean, just thinking on post, as an editor myself, Basil is an editor as well, right? Because you do everything, I do everything.
Yeah.
You do the shoots, you do the edits.
Yeah.
I think editing a feature film, I don't know how long it's going to be, 1.5 hours, 2 hours maybe. I think 1.5 hours.
Well, okay, editing a feature film, you have the offline edits, and then you go into online where you do your audio post, your ADR, dubbing, whatever
Yeah,
crap, and then
Yeah.
you do your color,
Yeah.
and then your everything else.
Yeah. Even if he has a slightly larger editing team, I think 1.5 months is still kind of pushing
And
it.
then your VFX.
It kind of feels, and I fear that the quality of what should hold up in the year 2022 will not be there. Like it will feel like maybe a 2015 film coming out in 2022. You know what I mean? Because it's too rushed.
Like sometimes we even have more time to shoot a corporate video, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's kind of ironic because everyone's coming out of everybody is coming out of the pandemic. Everybody wants work. Everybody is hungry to work. And this is already happening in Hollywood. The International Alliance of Theatrical and Stage Employees, it's a union for people I just mentioned. They actually successfully confirmed that they will be going on strike to protest against long hours in production and low pay after the pandemic, because production companies and studios are hurrying back into getting productions back up running on schedule and getting as much content out as possible to fill the gaps that have been created by the pandemic. But and the workers over there are actually saying, no, we don't want to do this, we want to spend more time with our family.
Yeah.
But over here we are compressing like what is supposed to be a year-long process into 3 months.
I mean, yeah, 3 months for the entire process, but just even thinking about post editing, the poor guys are gonna have to edit through the New Year's.
Yeah.
Right?
Christmas, New Year, that's it.
Yeah.
It's the time period for people to be with their families,
Correct.
and it's very likely that they will stay in the office until 3-4 a.m.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, I don't want to segue into another episode here, okay? But
I see what you did there. By now we would have already recorded the episode.
it's very likely that these poor guys are gonna have to work through intensively for a month and a half.
Yeah.
Right, missing I don't want to say missing the holidays, but missing
They definitely would. Man.
gathering times with their family and relatives.
They definitely would miss the holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think just thinking about that, I just feel like a bit
Yeah. I feel like my December and my January is gonna fly by, but for these people,
Yeah.
it's not, man. It's gonna be
Okay, so
40
knowing
over days of
this concept, right? Do you think we will feel differently about it if, let's say, it's the same timeline but it's happening around the April, May, June area? Like same tightness, but just that nobody's missing any holidays to be with their families.
No.
Will we feel better about it?
No.
No, right?
No.
Okay,
No,
understand.
I wouldn't, because I don't think you can generate anything of quality within that short time frame. Yeah. And I think I think we shouldn't even be encouraging it.
Yeah, part of my fears is someday my clients will use this against me. Hey, bro, your video edit takes so long. Jack Neo can finish a movie in 1.5 months. Why you're so long? You know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I feel
exactly.
that doing that affects the industry as a whole.
Exactly. Suddenly everybody wants everything to be cheaper, better, faster.
It's a non-financial spoil market move.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So
The only question that I always wanted to ask whenever I see this kind of tight timeline is that the biggest question is the biggest question is why isn't me here you are definitely think that you guys experienced this already quite a fair bit of time, but why no one honestly bring it up about this type, like they point out what you guys have pointed out, like this type that something must be squeezed in this particular period of time. But when I was looking through even the announcement, or when it was even being shown in Facebook, and the amount of comments that are given, none of the people actually brought up this very important thing, and that is it's so tight. It felt
Where
rushed.
are you reading these comments?
Think Facebook.
Which page?
Was it Mothership?
Then they don't work in production. That's for sure.
But there were a lot of people bashing the show, so
No, they don't work in production. That's for sure, because a lot of people don't know how long it takes to edit stuff.
true.
yeah. But yeah, I totally agree with Basil there. Even my clients who shoot with me on the regular still don't understand how production works, which I don't blame them lah. But I think it sets a very negative precedence moving forward.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And I think we're already in 2021, coming 2022. We shouldn't be encouraging impossible to meet deadlines, tight timelines, and then sure, I think the work is going to be done. They're going to put something out on Chinese New Year.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
And then they're going to wear it like a badge of honor.
For sure.
That's the worst part.
Yeah.
It's going to be like Singapore's first movie that was finished in 3 months, blah, 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 etc. So I think it's terrible moving forward for the local media industry.
There's one big problem, like what you said, is that I suspect that this rush move was likely because of the pandemic that's affecting his production, and he has a deadline to meet. The question has always been, like just now, like what you said, regarding the Hollywood having this mindset. It's almost like the deadline is more important than the well-being of the people here. And this is something that needs to be addressed, even in the industry.
I think
not just the deadline is more important than the welfare of the people. It's even the quality of content is not as important as meeting a deadline.
Oh yeah, that's true also.
Okay, yeah. That's really fair. And the welfare of the people is not as important.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what SK brought up. But you think about it, don't even say Singapore context. Even imagine if David Ayer, like we had a short talk about this just now, if David Ayer had more time and creative power to make the Suicide Squad of his vision, don't you think it'd be better?
Yeah.
I mean, look, a couple of movies that we were looking forward to have already been postponed because of the pandemic. Shin Ultraman is one. The Batman is another. Just yesterday or the day before, Marvel announced that some of the Phase 4 movies will be postponed because of the pandemic. I think that's fair. Like as fans, we have to understand. As consumers, we have to understand, and I don't know why it's so important to just. I mean, why can't they just put it on hold? I mean, it's not like they're working with Hollywood budgets, right?
Or it's not like this is the only Chinese New Year in the whole entire lifetime. You have another Chinese New Year coming out. Postpone it 1 year.
I mean, maybe for them it's like, we feel that this film is Chinese New Year release appropriate, but if we don't do it now, we can only do it next year.
Yeah. Okay. Why not?
No, I mean it's. Does it really have to be a Chinese New Year film?
Unless you tell me that their product.
That one not up to us to answer already.
Unless you tell me that I mean,
we don't even know whether it will still be limited to like 2-person in cinema at that juncture. So
right, actually, I mean, if it's slated for family viewers, how are you going to go as a family?
Exactly. So what happens if suddenly the cases go up and then we get shut down again?
Yeah.
Then are they gonna still meet the deadline? I really wonder.
We don't know lah. We don't know for sure.
Unless you tell me that they have certain like product placement that is only going to be launched during the Chinese New Year period, that's possible as well. Maybe.
I don't know. I mean, all this we can only answer when the movie comes out. So I'm gonna ask you guys a very simple to answer question. when Our Girls Go Army comes out, will you be going to the cinemas to watch it?
No.
No.
It's a no for me too.
No.
But
if it
okay,
comes out on
if
Netflix
it's
a
on
couple years
Netflix-
later and I'm already paying for the subscription because I'm watching other movies, sure.
But to be honest, the only legit show that I watched was the only full length show that I watched for Jack Neo. Regarding Our Boys to Men has always been Part 1 and Part 2, like really on the spot.
Right.
Most of them, even for say the third movie, pretty much I spend most of the time just watching snippets from the Teo Heng and Pokim. No,
Right.
sorry, not Teo Heng, the Pokim previews. So those are the period of time, and then I only started watching it because of some, relative showing it.
Right.
So I genuinely think that even for this one, if there's no snippets for me to watch or come across, I wouldn't think that I would
Right.
spend my money to just watch it.
I don't know if I don't know if me not spending any money to watch his movies is hurting the Singapore movie industry.
No
I don't
lah.
know.
Yeah, I mean neither.
I don't think so lah.
Yeah.
So so the question I want to ask our listeners right now before we end it off is, will you or will you not go and watch Our Girls Go Army when it comes out? And also, do you agree with our thoughts about how the Our Boys to Men film series has impacted Singapore society and its perception about national service? And do you agree that or disagree that the short time frame contributes to culture of overwork in the creative industry, and whether it's whether it's going to compromise the quality of the movie, and whether you think the movie will have any quality to begin with? Yeah, that's a bit mean, but yeah. Heard it, said it. Yeah. So anyway, I think that just about wraps up our discussion about Our Girls Go Army. Nothing really much more to be said until the movie comes out. Let us know what you think about the announcement of the movie and all the pointers that we just mentioned earlier in the comments, if you can, if you're listening to this on YouTube. But otherwise, please do catch our other episodes on Spotify and Google Play. We have a couple of
We have more stuff now.
we have more stuff now. We have video reactions, we have podcasts.
At the time of recording this, we literally just finished reacting to DC Fandom 2021.
Yeah.
And it was hell to edit, but fun to react to.
Yeah. So let us know if you would like us to do more podcasts about the Singapore movie industry, and
or if any other topics that are burning your heart that we can also relate to, then we might cover it and credit you.
Yeah. So I guess that's Prod.cast for Our Girls Go Army signing out.
Bye.
Bye.